Hello, everybody. Welcome. I hope you are doing well this evening. I would like to get started by just welcoming everybody and saying thank you so much for joining us this week. I'm really excited to once again be broadcasting from the new Northside Women's Wellness Center, which you can see here behind me. Well, just part of it at least. This is the part of the fitness center. You can see our weight benches and some balance balls and cardio equipment in the mirror. But this is just one of the areas of this new facility, which I would love to tell you a little bit more about. So my name is Jess Posner, and I am the Director of Virtual Programs for the YMCA of Central New York. And I'm really excited to be hosting this event tonight again, which is the second in a four-part series focusing on women's wellness. Tonight's guests include the esteemed Dr. Shanelle Benson-Reid and Desiree Odom. We will continue meeting every Tuesday in February. So we've got 2 more meetings at the same link and the same time, but with a different pairing of women's wellness experts. If you missed last week's presentation or know of somebody that might appreciate this one, we will be uploading the recordings to our YouTube channel as well as our virtual Y On Demand channel in the coming weeks. The series is presented by the YMCA of Central New York, following up on interest expressed by community residents engaged by Northside UP, St. Joseph's Health, and the many community partners that collaborated in the creation of the new YMCA Northside Women's Wellness Center, which I am in today and every Tuesday, located at 900 North McBride Street in Syracuse, New York. The February 2021 YMCA Virtual Women's Wellness Speaker Series will focus on topics at the intersection of women's wellness, health and wellness topics affecting the Black community, and caring for the heart. Our speakers include women medical providers, health professionals, and community wellness experts who have firsthand experience of the transformative potential of building a life of wellness. One of the main reasons that we are convening tonight is to celebrate the opening of the YMCA's new Northside Women's Wellness Center, which opened to members and the public late last month in January 2021. I'd like to tell you a little bit about the center and how it came to be. For those of you that logged on last week, you've also heard this story, but I'd love to share it for anyone that's new in our audience. The project began with Center State CEO through its Northside UP program, which facilitated a community collaborative to design, develop, and launch the Northside YMCA Women's Wellness Center. First imagined in 2013 during a series of community engagement meetings facilitated by Northside UP and St. Joe's Health, the new center offers a safe and culturally welcoming space for women from the North Side and greater Syracuse area to exercise, access community resources, and connect with neighbors. Shortly, it will start offering short-term child watching services, allowing women the opportunity to focus on their health and well-being while in the space. The entire project was designed through a diverse cross-section of Northside residents and community partners who directly informed program design, project location, and architectural design, business model, partner identification, and fundraising. Northside UP also helped to secure the project site, led the effort to raise $1.5 million in funds for construction and operating costs, and recruited the YMCA to become the owner and operator of the center. Working together, the YMCA, community residents, and other stakeholder partners are helping to ensure the center continues to be welcoming to women of all cultures, abilities, and socioeconomic backgrounds. To schedule a tour or visit of the Northside Women's Wellness Center, you can visit our website, and I'll post that in the chat for all of you with the specific link. And you can also join online. And we're running a special promotion that if you join through the Women's Wellness Center with a special code, we will join the waiving fee through the end of February. So that's a really nice opportunity to join the Y, through this special promotion and also support our newest branch. If you have any questions about the center, you can always feel free to email me, Jess Posner, at virtual@ymcacny.org. And I'm happy to do my best to answer your questions or connect you to the person that can. Something else that I'm really excited to share too is that this is also a celebration of the launch of our own virtual YMCA. So if you log on next week, maybe I'll give you a tour of that too. All right, so additional partners that I'd like to thank for our Women's Wellness Center and also tonight's event include TCI Syracuse, St. Joseph's Health, Center State CEO and Northside UP, MS Hall and Associates, Northside Residents, Hope Print, Northside Learning Center, Assumption Church, NEHDA, Syracuse Northeast Community Center, Syracuse University Learner Center for the Public Health Promotion, Healthy Connections, the YMCA of Central New York, ECHO, Seon Lee and Zoriana Dunham, with additional financial support from CNY Care Collaborative, the Nazareth Fund, Mother Cabrini Health Foundation, and the Health E-Connections. All right, so all of that being said, I'd love to tell you a little bit about how tonight is going to go. All right. So each speaker, first Desiree Odom, and then followed by Dr. Shanelle Benson-Reid, will speak for 20 to 25 minutes apiece, one after the next. Dr. Desiree, sorry, I got a little confused there. Desiree Odom will speak first, and then when she's finished her presentation, we will go on to Dr. Shanelle Benson-Reid. Following both of their presentations, we will have an open question and answer session that I will moderate. So what I'd like you to do is to, following each presentation, to please enter any questions that you have for either one or both of our presenters, and then I will share that with them at the end of their presentations, and we'll have a nice little back and forth. If you have any questions, like I said, hold them till the end of the presentations, submit them, and we'll be happy to engage those during that period of the event. So without further ado, I would love to introduce our first speaker, Desiree Odom, who is the CEO and founder of Holistic Desires Mind, Body, Spirit Wellness. She is a yoga and Reiki practitioner who specializes in stress reduction techniques, diet, and yoga for the mind, body, and spirit. Desiree, you are muted, my friend.
See, already starting off crazy, right? Hold on, I can't see anybody. Hello, everybody. Hope everyone is doing well today. Like she said, my name is Desiree Odom. I'm the founder of Holistic Desires and Health and Wellness. And this came out of years of things that I experienced in my own life with my health, my own health, as well as my family. Dealing with childhood trauma, dealing with weight loss, weight gain, dealing with degenerative diseases, high blood pressure, cancer, just a lot of things in my family, and not really getting answers from doctors. So I kind of like studied up on holistic health and natural remedies for myself, just wanted to see, doing different things that I thought would help me. And a lot of healing came from natural foods, meditation, doing yoga, and also Reiki. So a little bit of a background, I felt like I always was a healer because my grandmother was a healer. I used to follow her around when she used to go around in the community and visit people from her church that couldn't come to church because they were ill. And they called it laying of hands. That's what they called Reiki back years ago. That's what we called it back then. It's the same thing as Reiki. And as I got older, I developed those skills from her. Something that we all have is called universal energy. We all have universal energy. So today what I'll be talking about is what Reiki is. Reiki is a Japanese healing technique used for stress reduction and relaxation. Reiki is universal. Like I said, we all have the natural energy to heal ourselves and each other. You can use Reiki to balance your hormones, balance illness, improve your immune system, and it helps with other body functions. Reiki also can do no harm. Reiki is used for, like I said, I use it for stress reduction and relaxation. And the way you use Reiki is through transferring the energy, the natural energy from your own energy onto into the areas of blocked energy that you have in your body to actually help you to feel better. You can use this for anything, for relaxation. You can use it on your food to make your food taste better. You can use it for your plants to make your plants heal. You can use it for your water to make your water taste better. It's good for, everything in your body. So I've been a Reiki practitioner now for almost 10 years. I learned it through, I got certified through Reiki Practitioner from Crouse Hospital by the name of Joyce Apple. You know Joyce? Joyce is the awesome Reiki practitioner. So I used that, and I was a volunteer for the hospital for over 5 or 10 years, helping patients in the hospital heal. I'm so bad at this. Reiki also can help you with, nervousness, like what I'm going through right now doing this presentation. Reiki can also help you with that as well. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go take you through a Reiki. I'm going to take you through a Reiki practice that you can use on yourself or your family at home. You don't have to be certified to be a Reiki practitioner, but it's good to be certified. You can do this for your animals, like I said, your animals, your plants, and the people that you live with. So if you're ready, I'll need everybody to sit up nice and tall in your chairs. Relax your shoulders. Make sure your head is basically pressed up towards the ceiling. Feet flat on the floor. Take some deep breaths. And then you're going to just rub your hands together until you feel that your hands are nice and warm, building up the energy in your hands. And then when you're ready, just close your eyes for a few minutes and place your right hand on your forehead and your left hand right on top of your navel. And just close your eyes for a few seconds. Take a deep breath in through the nose. And then exhale through your mouth. Take another deep breath in through the nose. And then exhale through the mouth. And see if you can kind of relax. Feel that nice energy, that heat that you just generated through your hands. Feel it through your head. Feel it in your abdomen. And just take some nice deep breaths. And then feel that energy moving up and down. And then move your right hand from your head and place it on your heart. Take a deep breath in. And then exhale all the way down through the bottom of your feet. Take a deep breath in. Then exhale again, relaxing your shoulders, relaxing your abdomen, relaxing your hips, relaxing your knees. And this can be done at any time. If you're at work, you're at home, you're at school, you're getting ready to have a meeting where you're going to have a lot of energy going on, you can take 5 minutes, go into the bathroom and just sit there and place your hands where I just directed you to do, where I just directed you to put your hands, and just try to relax. And then when you're ready, just open your eyes, take a deep breath in, and then exhale all the way back down. So if you notice, like in the beginning, I was doing a little bit of rambling. Now I feel a little more relaxed and calm doing that exercise. And this is actually what Reiki does. It just helps you relax, reduces stress. It helps you think better. It helps you, just feel more confident in what you're doing. Anybody can do Reiki. You can also feel, it's a good thing to do. I also use this in my yoga practice as well. I use Reiki and yoga, but I use it also in my yoga classes to help the clients, prepare for their yoga practice. And basically that's what I do for the Reiki. Any questions? Oh, you said afterwards, right?
Yeah, but I actually have some questions. I know that you do quite a lot of different kinds of healing modalities, and I think that is also one of your gifts, as I understand, right? Is your ability to work with these different forms of healing. So I was wondering if maybe you could speak a little bit about how the different kinds of healing modalities you use, and how, for example, as a businesswoman, you've been able to build a business that integrates all of these healing practices to help yourself, the community, other folks like that. If you could just speak a little bit more on that.
So I'm able to do that. Well, I started doing it for myself, as I said earlier. Started doing it for myself, and then I noticed that why weren't these modalities offered more in our community? Why weren't more people that look like me doing these healing modalities? I know that we all have the gift to do it, but I wasn't seeing people who look like me, sharing these gifts. So I decided, I wanted to give the community something that I know worked for me, that I know that could definitely work for them. So I started out with, getting certified for Reiki, and I started doing it in the hospital, and, doing it that way. Then I started doing it for my family. Then I incorporated the yoga. So I went to yoga school. I graduated from yoga about 6 years ago with Tony Raposa. And I felt like if I did yoga, this would be a good way to bring more knowledge about the Reiki, because nobody really understood what Reiki was. This was kind of taboo, not knowing this was something that we have always done in our community when it comes to laying of hands. That's what it was called in church, laying of hands. So I figured that if I incorporate the yoga, then it would be easier to talk about the Reiki.
Desiree?
Can actually help you. Can you hear me?
We lost you for a second, but you're back now.
How it can, I don't know where I left off at, but how I just started really speaking about it, instead of keeping this beautiful, amazing modality to myself, I started talking about it more to my friends, my family, to the community, sharing it on Facebook. I would do community events. And then I don't know where I left off. 6 years later, it seems like there's more people that's really interested in it, because more people are trying now to heal naturally than going the other route, which is, taking a lot of medication. And because we're dealing with this COVID situation as well, more people are looking into doing more healthy things at home rather than going out doing other things. So incorporating the Reiki with the yoga and the meditation, and actually add in healthy foods to your diet, it's a a holistic approach. It's not just about the body, it's also about the mind and the soul. It's a holistic approach to healing. Like when you go to the doctors, they only want, you tell them what's wrong and then they match you up with a prescription. With holistic, it's all about incorporating each of those things, helping you heal everything, balancing out everything at one time. And that's what the Reiki and the yoga and the meditation and eating healthy foods naturally will do for you.
Thanks so much, Desiree. I also have one more question for you. I don't mean to like put you on the spot necessarily.
No, I think I'm done if I answer questions. I'm sorry.
We do have a few more minutes. And
Yeah.
Last week during our first presentation, both our mental health expert and our cardiac surgeon said that meditation were key to managing stress levels. And they gave us some resources in terms of apps and things like that to begin our meditative journey with if we were beginners. But I was wondering if maybe your Reiki session, your sort of like self-led Reiki session was so lovely and accessible. I was wondering if maybe you could just give us like a 3 or 4 minute like self-guided meditation that we could practice as, like a little thing to do together.
Oh, sure. So I kind of like did a meditation and a Reiki together, but yeah, that's fine. I can do that. So with a short beginner meditation, I always tell people to set their phones to like maybe 3 minutes, because if you've never done meditation before, it could be kind of difficult just sitting, because we're always moving. It's, once you sit down, your mind goes everywhere. It's like, oh my God, I got this to do. I got 3 minutes. I can wash clothes, cook the food, help the kid with the homework. Like you can do all this in 3 minutes while you're sitting. You're like, okay, I don't have time for 3 minutes of sitting. I can take 3 minutes and do all these things at once. So what I normally tell people is set your timer at 3 minutes tops, 5 minutes tops, and do not move until that timer stops. I don't care what's going on around you. You take that 3 to 5 minutes and utilize that time just for yourself. Nothing else, no one else matters but you in that 3 to 5 minutes. So I set the timer. You sit up nice and tall with your shoulders relaxed, and just close your eyes when you're ready. You take a deep breath in, and then shrug your shoulders up to your ears, and then exhale, slowly bring your shoulders down. Take another deep breath in and bring your shoulders up near your ears as you're breathing in. And then exhale, slowly drop your shoulders down again. And each time you bring your shoulders down, see if you can just relax one body part at a time. Yep, keep doing that. And then exhale. Breathe in, and then exhale. Roll the shoulders forward. As you breathe in and exhale, bring your shoulders down and around towards the back. Deep inhale in, bring your shoulders up near your ears, roll them towards the front. Down, exhale. And do that for a few more times. Good job. And just stop here. Take a deep breath in. And then exhale, drop your right ear toward your right shoulder. And stretch out your left side of your neck. Actually, this is a meditation. It's just a moving body meditation. And then take a deep breath in. Exhale, drop your chin towards your chest. Deep breath in. Exhale, drop your left ear towards your left shoulder. Deep breath in, bring your head back up to center. And then exhale, drop your head towards the back, opening up your throat. And exhale, bring your head back up to center. And just notice what you feel, releasing all tension throughout the body. Feeling that nice energy flow from your bottom of your feet to the top of your head. And then exhale all the way down. And when you're ready, take a deep breath in, exhale, and then open your eyes. And just notice how you feel. And that's normally what I do for like the beginning of my yoga classes, or even if I notice that someone is a little nervous when they're coming to get a Reiki session. With a Reiki session, you're fully clothed. I'm just normally just placing my hands on different parts of your body, just kind of opening up your black energy. And just I like to just have them meditate or have them take a lot of deep breaths so that they can relax. So that's normally what I do with that.
Well, thank you so much, Desiree. That was so relaxing. I don't know how everyone else feels, but it was such a beautiful invitation to drop into the moment, to be present with you in your and our power. So I just want to extend deep gratitude for sharing your practice with us.
Thank you.
And I wanted to ask if anyone wanted to get a hold of you or take a yoga class with you or try out Reiki with you, what's the best way for them to get in touch?
So you want me? I can put my phone number and my email address into the chat box if that's fine. I'm doing remote Reiki right now because you can also do Reiki on one-on-one, and you can also do it distant. So that's a good thing that with this COVID situation going on. But I definitely can do Reiki one-on-one. We just wear a mask or whatever. And the yoga sessions are on pause right now because I am in class. I'm in school right now for massage therapy. So I have 5 more months to go, and then I will be starting back up my yoga classes again. So I'll leave that in the chat box for you.
Okay, thank you so much. And just so that everyone knows, I will absolutely share Desiree's contact info with you and any other resources that she might want to offer us in a follow-up email that I'll send a day or two after today's meeting. So once again, thank you so much, Desiree. It was really a gift to be present with you tonight.
Thank you.
All right, I'm just gotta do a little video DJing here. Okay, well, next up, we have the pleasure of sharing space, time, and pixels with Dr. Shanelle Benson-Reid. Dr. Shanelle Benson-Reid, who should be spotlit here for you right now also, is, just give me 1 second. Okay. Dr. Shanelle Benson-Reid is the president and CEO of Global Sage Wellness, Access Global Group, and Access Global Enterprises. She is a consultant, coach, author, and professional speaker, and I believe also soon to be public official, or is in the running for public official. And her expertise is in areas of education, entrepreneurship, leadership, cultural competency, social awareness, equity, and community and individual empowerment. Dr. Benson-Reid formed Global Sage Wellness to serve as the parent company of her health and wellness enterprise. The Ethereal Yoga Parlor offers a wide array of yoga classes, guided meditations, and Reiki sessions. Elaborate, the Body Shop features adornments, candles, lotions, and potions from local artisans. And Euphoria, the Jazz and Java Bistro, serves plant-based cuisine options and offers plant-based nutritional programs and coaching. Dr. Benson-Reid created Access Global Group to operate as the parent company of Access Coaching and Consulting. Access Coaching and Consulting is a consulting group that focuses on cultural competency, social awareness, and equity in education and employment. In collaboration with 4 successful women entrepreneurs, Dr. Benson-Reid formed Bliss Development Group. The Bliss Development Group focuses on land acquisition and neighborhood development to transform communities as well as lives. Bliss Development Group is for like-minded women walking together, working together, and building together. With the assistance from her husband, Mr. Todd R. Reed, she established Access Global Enterprises to serve as the parent company of Access Dental Laboratories. Access Dental Laboratories is a full-service dental laboratory that specializes in the design of crowns, bridges, partials, dentures, night guards, implants, and veneers. Dr. Benson-Reid earned a Bachelor of Arts in Sociology from California State University, San Bernardino, and a Master's of Arts in Education from CSUSB as well. Dr. Benson-Reid earned her doctorate in organizational leadership from the University of La Verne. Her personal motto is inspire individuals to pursue self-discovery, empower them to be innovative, progressive, and revolutionary in thought, and motivate them to be global activists. I am so grateful to have you here with us tonight and really look forward to hearing from you about your story, your expertise, and anything it is that you'd like to share with us tonight.
Absolutely. I am so happy to be here. When I first spoke with Jess, I figured I'd be talking about health and wellness. And after I shared my story, she said, Shanelle, you can share whatever you like. And so I'm just going to talk to you about my story and my health and wellness journey. So I am originally from Southern California, born and raised, all of my education there. I remember growing up, the thing about California is the sun is always out. And so I remember being young, running, playing, having a good time. And that was my experience. In the summer, I swam every day. When I wasn't swimming, I was climbing trees with my cousin. I'm the oldest of around 36 grandchildren. And so the next 4 who came after me were all boys. And so even though I was the oldest and I was the girl, the boys had a huge influence on me. And so I climbed trees, we climbed houses, we would find, vacant houses to sit on top of, whatever. I was very adventurous as a youth. And so from there, I got involved in sports. I played volleyball, I played basketball, and I ran track. When in high school, being an athlete, what I realized most was my health was very important to me. I had a lot of friends who, drank and they smoked, but as an athlete, I just felt like to perform my best, I had to not consume certain things. And so I didn't drink, I didn't smoke. I just really wanted to take care of myself. As a junior in high school, I had the opportunity to travel all over the country to play basketball. And so health and wellness was really ingrained in me at that point because I had an opportunity to, play with world-class athletes and people who would eventually be in the Olympics. And I watched them and, we'd all have our burgers every now and then, but a lot of them are really focused on their health. And so I picked up some of those habits. While my senior year in high school, I'm thinking to myself, maybe I'll play basketball in college. I'm sure I can get a scholarship. But what ended up happening was I got pregnant. And so I didn't have an opportunity to play basketball. And I didn't think I was going to have an opportunity to do anything. And so I remember, going to school every day and thinking, what am I going to do? Here I am, ranked 11 in a class of 700. And now I'm not sure what I'm going to do because I had hung my hopes on playing basketball. I had been recruited to play basketball. And then at the last minute, I was approached by not my guidance counselor, but another guidance counselor on our campus. And she said, "Hun, there is an academic scholarship available. And we think that you meet all of the requirements to receive this scholarship. And, at the last minute, I'm going to say May of my graduating year, I received an academic scholarship to go to college. And it was a huge event. There was an award assembly, I was recognized. And so here I am. I decided to take a few classes in the summer just to get ready for college. And then I decided I would go right into the university, which was actually across the street from the high school I attended. Excuse me. And so I get to the college, and what I realized was I didn't know that my mental state was going to be in shambles because there had been so much placed on me as far as, the one who would succeed. But that when I got on campus, I couldn't take it. I flunked out. That was the first time I ever flunked in school, ever failed. And I ended up going to the junior college, the community college. And while there, I end up having another child. So I actually have a daughter who is 30 and a son who's 28 and a set of twins who are 13. But while I'm at college, I was able to take my time and, go slow and try and figure out, okay, how am I going to do this? What am I going to do? And every day I went to school with the hope that eventually I could get back to the university, even though I was afraid to be there. When I got there, I had times where I would have to withdraw from school, go back to school, withdraw. I had children, and so I had to find daycare. I had a job, and then I wouldn't have a job. And so it was a tumultuous journey, to say the least. And, I think back to when I was really young. I had a few traumatic experiences that caused me to go in directions that maybe weren't positive. I often call them my self-inflicted wounds because a lot of the chaos that I endured was self-inflicted. But, I was at the junior college and I was trying to figure out what my next move would be, and I had no idea. But the one thing that was always consistent was taking care of myself. By this time, I had my children, and, I would walk every day, I would jog every day. Um, I would do all I could to be healthy. My two older children would say that it is because of me that they have healthy eating habits, because at a very young age, as a young mom, that was something I focused on. But I'm still at the junior college. And then one day, a counselor came up to me and she said, "There are no more classes for you to take. You have to leave. You have to go back to the university." And I was terrified because I had flunked out once and I thought I would flunk out again. And when I met with the admissions department, the admission advisor who was assigned to me, he said, your track record doesn't show that you should be here, and we're not really sure why we should invest in you being here. And I was so broken. I felt so defeated. But I knew that I would get another opportunity. And so it actually took me 10 years to get my associate's degree. But it took me less than 6 years to get my bachelor's, my master's, and my doctorate degree, because by the time I got back to the university, I was so focused that all I could do was work. And I had got to the point where I really wanted to put health and wellness at the forefront of my life. And so as I am in school, I am working out regularly. By now, I have a nice home. And it's funny, I tell people the story that I used to put a backpack on to jog to the grocery store, and put the things I needed in the backpack, and then I would jog back home. I would meet friends and I would say, "Okay, you guys want to talk? Let's walk up to the coffee shop, have a cup of coffee, and then we'll walk back." My goal was to incorporate health and fitness into every aspect of my life. And that was all I know from the time I was young playing basketball until I got older. And then I moved to Syracuse, New York. And what I realized was, being in Southern California where the sun is always out, it was easy to stay in shape, be in shape, adhere to a eating routine that incorporated fresh fruits, fresh vegetables. There were juice bars, salad shops, you name it, I could find it. And then I moved here, and I kind of spiraled into a comfort food zone. That's what I'll call it, a comfort food zone. And every habit that I thought I had established, I had abandoned, from working out to eating healthy, you name it, they were all gone. I moved to Syracuse in 2006. In 2009, I had developed an illness, an unspecified illness. No one could figure out what was going on with me. I had saw specialists, you name it, I saw. I would go into a doctor's office and they would say, you know what, I have a feeling I know what it is. They'd run the test would come back negative. I'd see another doctor, oh no, I think I know what it is. I'm pretty sure, but I don't want to talk about it because sometimes people internalize the words. And I would come back to the office for my results, and the results were negative. And so after years of doing this, I decided that the only way I was going to be able to take charge of my health was to do something on my own. I remember sitting in the parking lot at the oncology office at Britton Field. And I had just walked out, and my mother had called me, and I was in tears because I was in so much pain, but I didn't know what the pain was from. I didn't know anything. I know I was at the point where they were recommending home health care services for me. My oldest daughter had to leave college to come home to take care of me. And my mother, while on the phone with her, she said, "You have believed for everything else. You have believed for your education, you have believed for your career, you have believed for everything else in your life. You need to start believing for your health. Start believing that good health is possible for you and take those steps." And I remember sitting in the car crying and crying and crying. But when I pulled myself together and I drove home, I decided that I was going to make some changes. And the first changes would be I wasn't going to take the medication, not because I felt like it wasn't helping me, because it was helping me. It was. The pain that I was enduring, the medication helped, but I didn't want to take it anymore. And so I changed my diet. I stopped taking the medication. I started doing yoga. I started working out every day. I started being in the sun. Anytime the sun was out, I was there. Anytime there was a glimpse of sunshine, I made sure I had that exposure. Um, I stopped seeing all of the specialists because I felt like they were not helping me. And what I realized that everything I needed to know was already in me. I just had to figure out what worked and what didn't work. Um, and I changed my diet drastically. And so I went from eating a traditional American diet to consuming fruits and vegetables, and realizing that having gluten bothered me, and realizing that having dairy really did bother me. Even if I did not have physical sensations, I knew that eventually something would manifest. And so I knew that I had to stop eating those things. From there, I started researching, and I'm like, okay, so what are the effects of this? And what are the effects of this? And then I start, talking to people who were experts in the field, because I wasn't an expert in the field. I was hungry for the knowledge because I wanted to feel well. And, from there, I was able to connect with people who were nutritional chefs who would offer me advice, or people who were nutrition response specialists who would offer me assistance. And I was able to create a plan that worked for me and that helped me understand what wellness for me looked like and what that could feel like. Now my two older children are older, they're gone on their own. I'm married, and the two younger ones are home. And so I can't say that we are 100%, we only eat healthy. We have days where we're like, oh no, let's binge out on something. But we always revert back to we know what works. We know what makes us feel outstanding. I always say when I'm eating well, I feel like a superhero. You know, when I'm eating well, you can look at me and tell the difference, but you can also look at me and tell that when I've consumed something that doesn't sit well with me. And so, through trial and error, through lots of research, through really paying attention to my body, and through not being afraid to ask questions, I have been able to put all of this together to meet my needs. And so, what I do now on a daily basis is I do yoga, I do meditation. I actually became a Reiki practitioner through Desiree. I took her class to do that because I understood the art of healing in the hands. Um, and I have and I do regular physical training. I'm not into high impact. I don't like a whole lot of bouncing, but I do believe in the movements, and I know the movements are beneficial. And so I have committed my life to my wellness and what that looks like for me, and realizing that my wellness may not be similar to someone else's, or it might not be packaged for someone else. But what I've learned to do is really listen to my body and listen to how my body responds to food, environment, stress. At one point when I was sick, I remember sitting with my physician and he said, it wouldn't surprise me if everything that was happening to you was a response to stress. You are having a physiological response to a psychological situation. And so I really had to go through the process of removing stress from my life. And, there's good stress and bad stress, but certain people's bodies respond to stress differently. And so even if good stress, I still have to manage it. But the bad stress, I have to be able to meditate, breathe through it. I found that throughout my day, I clench my jaws and I hold my breath. That was one of the things I had to learn to change. And so through this journey, I just have figured out what works for me, what doesn't work for me. I had a leader years ago tell me, Shanelle, treat it like chicken, eat the meat, spit out the bones. And so what works for me, I take in. What doesn't work for me, I release. And that has been the journey that I've been on for close to, my daughter is 30, so over 25 years, is really understanding what works for me, what helps me feel my best. I always want to feel like the superhero. And I know that eating a certain way and doing my yoga and my meditation and practicing my healing helps me feel like a superhero. I also know that the trauma that I've endured in my life more than likely still sits with me in certain spaces. And so I have to be able to acknowledge those experiences and figure out what works for me to get to the end of that experiences. And some of them I have not gotten to the end of, but I find strategies that help me take the next right step, make the next best move. And so, that is my journey. That is what I do for healing. Um, I am a serial entrepreneur. I enjoy being independent and working and doing things that I love. My husband and I will be opening up the first full service African American owned dental laboratory in the country, and it's going to be here in Syracuse. And that has probably been one of our greatest achievements. But that is not the only greatness. There's so much more to this journey. And I guess with all of it, my goal is always to live out loud and do everything I envisioned and live my wildest dreams. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It was really been a gift to hear your story and your journey, knowing particularly how full your life is, and that it has come not with the greatest amount of ease, right? But an incredible amount of hard work,
Yes.
self-reflection, self-awareness,
Yeah.
difficult choices. And I also have to say, I did not know that you and Desiree were a student and teacher when
Yes.
I
Yes.
programmed you all together.
Yes.
So I'm going to bring her, I'm going to spotlight here too. And you're now spotlight for everybody as well, Desiree. So you can unmute yourself if you'd like. And I just like to remind everybody that at this point, if you have any questions for either Dr. Benson-Reid or for Desiree, you can enter those into the chat, and I will read those for everybody. And you can specify who they're for or for both. So Desiree, I'm actually going to mute you because we're getting a little feedback from you. So when you're ready to speak, then you can unmute yourself. So sorry about that little technical difficulty there. I actually have a question for both of you while we sort of like wait on some of the questions to roll in from our audience. And I am so taken aback by how open and generous you are in terms of sharing your own life and your own journey for self-healing, right? Sort of like really this, I'll say brave, right? Practice of identifying the needs in order to heal yourself. But you also have made a living, right, by translating those experiences into wellness businesses. So I was wondering if perhaps both of you could talk a little bit about what it was like to make that jump, right? To make that jump from years of practicing wellness and healing practices to heal yourself, and then to make that shift to making it a business to helping others. And Desiree, I know you spoke a little bit about this, but I'm particularly interested if you could talk about, like, was it scary? Like, did you have encouragement? Like, how did you figure out that this is what you needed to do? Like, were you able to support yourself in the first couple of years? How long did it take you to kind of like find that support? So, yeah, I guess that's kind of a big question.
Just like anything else, you do things as like a side. It wasn't a side hustle at first. It was something that spiritually, like, I needed to do. Sort of like what the doctor was just saying. It's like I was going through some trauma. The doctors weren't telling me, I didn't have anybody to talk to because of things I was going through. Like, of course, nobody else is going through it but me. I didn't have that that woman's support. Basically, my mom was a teenager when she had me. I had my son when I was 15, and I was in a relationship that wasn't healthy. All these things were going, trying to work and raise a child, going through trauma in the home, not having, people that I can trust and depend on. So I'm going through all this myself, and I'm just reading books and trying to figure out how to keep my mental stable to take care of my child, how to, what classes do I need to take to get a job so I didn't have to be on public assistance for the rest of my life, making sure my child was able to not end up in a prison because he's a boy child and we lived, in not so good neighborhoods. So all this is going on. And at the same time, I'm trying to learn how to take care of myself. So I started with books, practically, and it was always like, wow, that person doesn't look like me, but why is all this stuff available for people that don't look like me, but we're all going through the same thing. I know we gotta all be going through the same thing. So I started from there. It started as me trying to heal myself, to people like, oh, how did you lose weight? Or what do you, like, oh my God, I know you went through this. How did you deal with that? People asking me questions on how did I heal, how did I deal with certain things? And then people, I'm like, wow, people they're really interested in this. Like, this is a part of my life, but people are really interested in how I'm doing all of this. So it started off as that, then it started off as like a side hustle because I was I worked for Kraus for over 30 years. I started there like in the kitchen and worked my way up, but I was never happy there. It was a thing of just trying to support myself, trying to, bring my, support my family. But on the side, I was doing things that made me feel good inside, which was helping other people. I was still helping people in the hospital, but with the side, making meals for people, making smoothies, using my natural ability to be a healer, using that for other people, and people were really enjoying it and really healing from it. And I'm like, wow, I can probably make this a business. But of course, you're scared because how can this pay my bills, right? I can't pay my bills with being a healer. I never even thought of that could be a thing for me, right? So my job got eliminated at Kraus. So I had no other choice but to make this work because I'd never seen it I did it as a business. Like I got the certifications and everything because this is what I liked to do. I needed to learn more. And in order for me to learn more, I had to, really figure out what it was about. So I love learning. So I would, okay, you want to do, this seems like a good thing. This seemed like it would be good for me. It's good for my family. So that's what I did. I never looked at it as being a full business, but I always called it a business, but not really taking it to the next level. You know what I'm saying? Never looked at it as being something that could support me. So I lost my job at Kraus, and I think that's when I started really looking at it. Like all the stuff that I have tons of knowledge and wisdom on healing and holistic healing, and I make my own smoothies, I do sea moss, like I do all this stuff, and it's like this has to work for me some kind of way because now I don't have no kid. I feel like if I had kids to support, I don't have any children. My kids are grown adults now. And I feel like if I had children, it would have forced me to do it sooner. But, I got time to lay back and do things for myself, do things that I love. So I always had kept money because I own property too. So it was like, okay, I don't have to because the Kraus is paying for the business. I don't have that anymore. So now the property is paying for the business. So now it's like I'm trying to really get my foot in this. I know what I have, but it's just like trying to really get my foot into making it really, really work for me. Because at first it's just doing it just to help others. But now when you're in healing of modality, you don't want to really charge for that. It's like, that's something about that really gets to you. So now I'm looking at it really like, okay, I really need to take these gifts and I really need to. So that's why I'm in the next 5 months, I'll be done with massage therapy, and I'm looking to take all of these modalities that I have and really, really push my business. So that's basically where I hope I answered your question with that. So that's basically what I'm trying to do now is just get all these things together, all these things that I've been doing over the last 20 years, and just putting them all together and just really, pushing my business, finding somewhere to really, open it, actually having enough other people work for me. As long as I know what a massage therapist is supposed to do, what a yoga teacher is supposed to do, I can just rent that space out and have them do the work, and I'm like the overseer. But that one-on-one, I really like helping and healing people. That's just part of me. That's what I love to do. So thanks for that question.
Of course. Thank you for the answer. Very generous and inspiring also.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. Dr. Benson-Reid, would you like to respond to the same question?
Absolutely. So I will say that I was a teacher, K through 12 teacher, special education. I went into education because my son had some academic concerns, and I knew that I could not advocate for him without understanding the language of education. And so I started my journey of self-discovery as a teacher. That's what I will say. And what I realized was in being a teacher, I had a voice. And so from there, I decided to, okay, I'll get the next degree. And then I got the next degree. And I remember I was sitting down with my mentor and I said, I think I want to help people kind of shape their environments and give them assistance in education, equity, and things of that nature. Once to me was, um, you already have an audience, but you might want to pursue your doctorate so that they listen to you. And now I didn't understand it then, but I understand it now. And so I went on and I pursued my doctorate. And from there, I decided I would start a consulting business. And I didn't know how or what to charge. I researched what I'm supposed to charge for consulting. And for the first 5 years, I consulted for free. I spoke to people for free. I went into high schools. I went into homeless shelters. I went into companies. I did week-long workshops. I did speaking engagements, all of it for free for the first 5 years. And then maybe the sixth year, I was able to charge $50. And so I still wasn't making enough to sustain myself, but I'm like, oh, but I got $50 for it, so I was happy. But I don't think it really mattered because it was my passion. I loved doing all of it, the speaking, the helping. And then, when it came to talking to people with similar life experiences, I know what it's like to be homeless. I know what it's like to be a teenage mom. I know what it's like to go to the store with a booklet of food stamps. I know what it's like to walk down the street pushing your babies in a stroller and having people look at you who actually believe that you were supposed to do something great, but here you are in the checkout stand with a food stamp card. I know what it's like. And so I was able to talk to people and let them know that my story is no different from yours. Normally when I talk about my education, I say, I have an associate's degree because it all started somewhere. I flunked out of college, um, but from there, I got to the point where people started finally paying me because I wasn't making any money forever. And then somehow, some way, they started to pay me. And I was like, oh, wow, I can actually live, I can take care of myself. Now, what is really something is before I became a teacher, I was actually going to school to be a sports trainer. I was working with the training staff that was with the Women's World Cup championship team in California. I was a part of that crew. I was like a regular underling, but I was a part of that crew. And that was my goal, to be a trainer. I wanted to be a sports trainer for football because football was my favorite sport. And if I couldn't do football, it was going to be basketball because I played basketball and I knew about that. And when I had my children, I had to come up with something else because my son was having academic problems. And so I decided to become a teacher. And so now I'm looking at my life and I'm a consultant and I do well. And I do diversity, inclusion, and equity in academic settings and corporate communities. But then I started my wellness company, Global Sage Wellness, because that was my passion. That was my life's work. That was what I really understood because I recognized how changing my life changed my life, you know? And I actually became yoga certified. I did the Reiki up under Desiree. I'm going to do the Reiki 2 up under Desiree. I've done meditation classes. There is so much that I've done. Oh, and I sat up under a chef to teach me how to cook gluten-free, vegan, whole food meals. And so I can cook just about any meal and make it vegan and gluten-free with no processed foods. I know how to do that. But all of that was because I felt like that was the route I was supposed to go anyway. And so, I always say, people say You can't have it all, but I just believe that I can have everything. Whatever that everything is, I actually believe that I can have it. When I talked to my oldest about starting this company, this wellness company, she said, "Mom, that's the natural progression of things. You were supposed to start it when I was a baby, but we got sidetracked because of life." And so, you know, I feel like if you're doing what you love, the money will come. Like I said, I was a consultant for 5 years and did not make a dime. No one gave me anything. And when I was getting paid, when I did finally get paid, it was what they were giving me was an insult. It really was. But I took it because I was like, well, I guess this is what you make. And then I started Googling. I was like, that is not what you make. They're insulting me. And then finally, I got to the point where after 12 years, I can command a certain amount in my consulting business so I can live the way I want to in my wellness business and do the things that I want to do. So if someone said, "Hey, Dr. Reid, can you make me some gluten-free vegan enchiladas?" I'm like, "Oh my God, yeah, that's my specialty. Any Mexican dish I can make. And so that's how it took time. I would tell anybody, don't expect it to happen overnight, because it does not happen overnight. But when you are doing what you really feel like you are called to do, it just happens the way it's supposed to. It does. It happens the way it's supposed to. um and that's my truth. That's how I feel. It happens the way it's supposed to.
Thank you so much for that answer. Both of you, such a generous and beautiful answer to what was a pretty loaded question. And I feel like you also opened up more of a window into yourselves, which is just really such a gift for us. So thank you for that. We have two questions that have to do with youth. So I'm going to sort of combine both of them and maybe ask if you would like to respond to both of them. So the first one is about doing Reiki, performing Reiki on an infant that has a lot of tension in the body. Kim Fan wrote in with this and says that her little won't stay put when she performs Reiki on her. So I was wondering if you could give let's just go with that first, but give some advice to performing Reiki on those with some wiggles.
Don't force it. If the baby doesn't want it, I would say don't try. Like you can do it at any time when the baby's sleeping. You can like bring the energy to the baby. The baby's running around and doing whatever. First of all, how old is the baby? Do we know?
She didn't specify, but Kim, if you are still here, you can go ahead and type in or even unmute yourself and join the conversation.
Hi.
Normally, yes.
Oh, here's Kim.
She's
I hear the baby.
7 months. Hello?
Yeah, we hear you.
And you're saying when you're trying to give the baby Reiki that the baby won't be still? Or
Yeah, she's very wiggly. I even tried to do body massage on her and she just won't stay still. I was both really impressed by both your presentations and just the whole idea of meditation and just bring yourself back to center. And I've also heard, I guess this is a segue question, but can babies mimic their parents' like stress and tension in terms of like body stress? Like I tend to carry a lot of weight and stress in my shoulders. And I don't know if that's where she's mimicking me and kind of getting that from, because I see her shoulders are very high and tense.
I'm not a doctor, but I will certainly say that yes, you can transfer energy. The babies feel everything. They feel everything. So whatever, I was going to say that in the beginning anyways, if you find that you're more relaxed in yourself, that energy will transfer more relaxed to the baby. So maybe you probably need to just sit back and relax, take some deep breaths, do that brief meditation that we went through in the beginning, and then put your hands on the baby then. Or you don't even have to put your hands on the baby. Just hover your hands over the baby when he or she is sleeping, and just try to see how that works. But yes, the babies can feel everything, just like I have 2 grandkids. Like they instantly, without even talking, they feel the body, they know the body language, that the facial, they can tell whatever's going on without you even speaking. So kids definitely pick up energy way better than adults do. So your baby probably, the baby probably is feeling your tension in your body when you're trying to give the baby healing.
Okay. But she can mimic that physically?
Yes. Like if you're nervous, like you know how you feel, you're nervous, you're like all over the place. So if you're trying to give that nervous energy to the babies and the baby's moving around, the baby's probably feeling that without knowing what's going on, any other issues, that's what's going on. But definitely they sense it. Kids and animals sense energy way better than we do. So I would say, yeah, or just have, I don't know what the atmosphere is like when you're trying to give a Reiki session. Maybe you need to cut the lights down, put some candles on, just like if you were getting ready to meditate yourself. Put the baby in that same atmosphere and see what happens.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I also just wanted to chime in. One of our other audience members, Deb Glover, messaged me to say that she has 23 years of NICU experience and asked to, speak for a moment. So, Deb, if you would like to unmute yourself.
Hi. Yes, I am a former NICU nurse for 23 years. I actually remember Desiree from Krause when I worked there. But I just wanted to say, when she was speaking about the baby feeling the tension, that's a proven fact that babies do feel the tension of the parents. And one of the things we used to teach the moms in the NICU, where the babies, are sick and they're under a lot of lights and a lot of noise and things going on, is to, as Desiree just hit on it, was to make the area very relaxing. The environment that she wants to do the Reiki in, make sure the area is very relaxing. Also, she can also try swaddling, even though the baby's older, still she can try swaddling and releasing one limb at a time, doing the Reiki in that area, kind of just like a gentle, bring it in slowly. And she can try something like that, because that does often work to help soothe the baby. It's also very comforting to babies to be held in close. It's a very soothing technique for babies. And when they get too much stimulation, they'll get very scattered. Their arms and legs be flailing. They can't focus. And a lot of times you have to bring them in physically in order to help it be successful. Reiki was just coming out when I was working at Krause, and Joyce Apple was working at Krause there at the time, so I knew her, and Pam, and they all got into Reiki and started teaching the parents how to do it and use it on the babies to help them to relax and to promote healing in the babies, even in the NICU, so that the parents were learning, starting to learn, and they were teaching it. It wasn't even popular then. It was just coming out. I left Krause in 2007, so it was just coming out and really becoming well known. But those are some of the techniques that any parent can try with their child to soothe them, is to bring the child in physically. Bring the body in, arms and legs, draw them up toward the baby. It's just soothing for the baby. It's a physiological thing. That's all I want to say.
Thank you.
Thank you so much,
Can I chime in on that too? I want to, from an educational aspect, I want to say that when it comes to swaddling or wrapping the baby, as children get older, there are weighted blankets and weighted vests that mimic that weight that babies need, that little ones need. It's that sensory. And being in special education and having children with diverse needs, because my children, 3 of them, had diverse needs, the importance of the swaddling, the closeness, and the weighted blankets. I also want to say that when I have a set of identical twins, and I really started meditating because of the stress. And I don't know if there's any moms of multiples on the line, But if you have multiples, it's a different level than having 2 children. And because I did that also, but it was a level of stress that I was under, and the babies could feel that stress, and so they cried all the time. And so I had to figure out how to bring my levels down to bring their levels down so that we could have, like a good 3 minutes, just 3, you know. But I had to include that because that's something that I dealt with for close to 20 years in education when it comes to those sensory issues and having little ones that are bouncing off the walls and need that weight, that added pressure.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing that wisdom and resources. We have another question, this time about teen girls. Cheryl Pusai, who was with the YMCA, asked if either of you do any programs targeted to teen girls in the city of Syracuse. And I would also expand that. I see that Desiree commented that she has done stuff with Dunbar and other community programs. So I was wondering if you could speak to any of those programs that you know may currently exist as resources for the community, anything you've worked with or know about otherwise.
I'm not currently doing any program with young adults. I do training with personnel mostly, trauma-informed, person-centered training. And occasionally someone will ask if I will come down and talk to a group of high school students or freshmen at Syracuse or Lemoyne, or virtually in other places. But as far as workshops or anything like that, I actually have not done it. That would probably be something I would consider doing, in the very near future, because I am them. I understand.
I would say the same thing. I'm sorry. I have done some things like from teaching yoga to girls, teenage girls, to just talking to, because I was a teenage mom, so telling them about teenage. I did presentations on recognizing teenage domestic violence, because when you're a teenager, you just think, when you're a teenager, when someone hitting, pulling on you, think that's playing. That's how people play, but they don't realize that if you let that stuff go, it ends up being, or can be, dangerous, or could end up into a domestic violence relationship when it starts off as teenage playing. So I, talked about how to recognize all of that stuff in when you're having a relationship as a teenage girl, and just like this, self-care, self-esteem, that kind of stuff. So I've always been interested in, I think that was one of my, and then having a daughter, so that kind of made me want to talk to girls a lot. But I haven't really found somewhere that I can actually do a program, like really do something that's consistent. I just do things here and there, or when someone asks me to do something.
Maybe we planted a seed tonight, I mean, this is how things grow, right? So we'll be in touch afterwards.
Are you gonna make me speak again? As long as you don't make me speak, I can do whatever you want.
Well, we get, I mean, early stages, right? This is one of the beautiful things actually about the YMCA. And right now we're growing. I mean, there's a lot of very beautiful things about the Y, but right now we're growing our virtual YMCA programming. And I was actually just hired 3 months ago to do that. And so, one of the things that we're looking to do is to really connect with experts within our community and you know, through programs like this, right? I think it just opens up a wealth of opportunities, not only for those that log in, but for those that will view us later, but also the relationships that we begin to establish anew, but also the relationships that you already have. I mean, you know, like between the two of you and Deb and other folks who have known each other for a long time, but continue to work and thrive and grow and learn together as you expand your reach and community through what it is that you do, is something that we are so grateful, you know, to benefit from in this one evening, but also for what will stick with us. So so I just want to, you know, before we close out tonight, do either of you have any final closing thoughts that you'd like to leave us with?
I just want to
say, whatever. Oh, sorry, Des. I just want to say that whatever we're doing to continue to do that, and you know, every so often add something to it. Whatever that something is, whatever that something can look like, just add something to it. It doesn't have to be anything large or expensive or exuberant. Just add something to it. That's what I would say.
Thank you.
I would say when it comes to self-care, just take it one day at a time. Realize that everybody is not you, and what works for them may not work for you. Find out what works for you. And we all go, like I teach about stress reduction, relaxation, but I still have stressful times. I'm still afraid. I still have anxiety. I still deal with things. So don't feel like you have to be perfect to do something. Start where you are, wherever that is. And if you backslide and you have to get back on track, just know each time is going to get easier. So you get to the point where you're not backsliding anymore. You're conscious of what you're doing, and you can eat that piece of bread without eating the whole loaf. You know what I'm saying? You recognize what's going on.
Right.
But just know that you are more important. You are first, and you know you are the queen of whatever. So whatever you're feeling, your family is gonna feel. Just like Kim's talked about the baby. When you're taking care of yourself first, that energy transitions and it transforms to a happy, healthy home.
Well, thank you both so much. It has been such a gift to spend this evening with you and to glow in your shine. It is really something that I am super grateful for. And I know that the entire organization of the YMCA and CNY and all of our partners that helped make the Women's Wellness Center, as well as this series, possible. So thanks again for sharing your gifts and your light with us. And we look forward to hopefully seeing you around soon. And thank you to all of our audience members for your presence, your attention, your questions, your wisdom. We could not have done this without you.